25 NL zoom on Poker Stars. Let's go. Jack 5 off is not a defend, even against a small blind raise. Pocket Kings is the continue though. And we are getting raised, which means we can now 3-bet. This is a player who doesn't like folding to 3-bet too much. 8-9 queen is not the very best of flops for us, but we definitely have to go with c-bet here. I'm choosing the small size. In the small blind on a queen high board you can go small or big, but on such a wet board I chose to go small, and we're getting pocket kings again, and there is another raise, this time under the gun. We can just make it 3x here because it's a very big raise. I don't have any information on this player. Miffler certainly is thinking about it. No, but he finds a fold. And we get called again. And this is a board where we go either with a check or with a big bet. Here with pocket kings, I'm happy to go for the big bet. If I had aces, I might check. Queens, I would always bet, and kings is like an in-between hand, because kings do need protection in case an ace comes. However, it's only one overcard, whereas like for a hand like queens or jacks, we would have 2 or even 3 overcards to be afraid of. Here, ace jack off could 3-bet, but I decide to just call this time. He makes it just over a third. I have ace high, definitely gonna call here in position. 10-4-4 is a board that won't hit him too hard. Now that he checks, I can just check behind, take my showdown value. There is no reason to bet there. Here now, same thing. Like if he has a pair, I think he would probably have bet anyway. So we're good here most of the time, but I can't really get called by much worse. So I'm happy to just win this one at showdown. King queen off, yeah, I mean he makes it big, but again this is one where I will have to go for the 3-bet. I can't really call in the small blind. I play a raise or fold strategy, and I think king queen off is too good to fold to a button raise. Hence my 3-bet there. Jack 8 suited from under the guns, a little bit too early. I would open it, well, probably not even hijack really, to be fair, just cut off and later. King 7 off is not a defend against any position. Ace 8 off, if it folds to us, we'll open it, otherwise, like now, it will definitely go into the muck. Pocket 4s, I do not want to cold call here, because we have 3 players to act behind, so this is just a fold. In a very soft live game, this would almost always be a call for me, but not in an online environment. Here, ace 8 suited, definitely opening, definitely not continuing if we get 3-bet, which we don't. This board, I don't have a lot going for me, so I think it's best to just check behind. And here, same thing again. I mean, we have some showdown value. I'm happy to just check behind. Here now we have to go for value, even though the flush comes in. 2/3 pot, could have gone 3/4, but we get a very quick fold anyway. So you might have had just a small pocket pair or nothing indeed. Queen deuce, not gonna defend against any raise from any position. Pocket sixes is an interesting one. If cutoff raises, which it does, I have to just fold here. Against the button raise, I could have considered 3-betting, but not cutoff. Ace 3 off, definitely not good enough. Over here we have an open limper. So that's why I'm tagging this player as a recreational. But yeah, I was going to say ace 3 off in the cutoff is not a hand that I would ever open. Even on the button, it's not a normal open. I would only open it on the button against weaker blinds. Here I defend king 8 suited. He makes it very big. I mean, we do have backdoor flush draw and one overcard, but because he makes it so big, I just decide to fold here. You could go either way. It's not necessarily indicative of a very strong hand, but on the other hand, I don't want to put in a lot of money with king high and a backdoor flush draw. If he had made it small, like 1/3 or so, or even up to half pot, I would have called, but he made it something like 2/3. So definitely not wanting to continue. 10-7 suited. I mean, I could open it in the cutoff, but I think it's just a tiny bit too weak. Queen 6 suited, going to open here because everyone folded to us. This is now the same player that bet big when we had the king 8 suited. It's probably a bluff, I would say, but I can't do much with queen 6 suited here. Definitely just folding to the 3-bet. 4 is off, not gonna defend against the same player again. Seven deuce off, not a hand I would recommend playing too often, or never, to be fair. Ace jack off, this might be an interesting one. Oh yeah, okay, so this is an interesting situation now. Although we have the cold caller, so I mean it's just too weak against an under the gun open to 3-bet here. I would have considered flat calling without the caller in between, but I just can't do that. Once the pot is multi-way, ace jack offsuit is just way too weak in a multi-way pot. Here we don't even have a backdoor. We have ace high. See bet 77% of the time, but I think this is just a fold here. Okay, so now we have ace 3 off on the button, and this is one, because we have tight blinds, I'm going to open it, otherwise ace 4 off would be the cutoff in GTO terms. Jack 10 off, under the gun, not a hand that I'm interested in. Would be different if it were suited. 5-6 off is also a hand that I won't defend, even against a min raise, and definitely not against a 3-bet. 5-6 suited is a different story. This is a hand that I'm happy to open. This is probably my one hand from under the gun that I'm happy to open. Here, I decide not to c-bet. Now it's pretty good. We do have an open-ended straight draw. I will just call for now, take my equity. Okay, this is interesting now. He still has a big range there. Let me see what my notes are. I mean, he is quite loose. This is a nothing but a bluff catcher, but I think I have enough equity to call him. Yeah, and he had the flush draw, the missed one. So good call there. So in terms of bluff catching, in this case, the reason why I did it on the river, although he bet quite big, was that board did not necessarily connect with his range, one, but even more so, if you consider the range that he just has in general there, he called in the big blind, so that's already a quite wide range. And then the range was completely unfiltered. I did not see bet the flop, so he had this entire wide range on the turn. Then he bet there. I called. He still had this in this big wide range there, and then he bets the river with it. So that's what made me call there with my bluff catcher. Had I not hit the five, I mean, depends what the river had been, but I would have considered just bluff raising him there for the same reasons, because we can't call with six high. But I think it would have made sense to potentially bluff raise there. So ace-3 off again on the button. Again, like earlier, I'm opting to raise here because I seem to have tied players in the blinds. Pocket threes under the gun is a very low frequency open. Decided against it in this case here. King 9 suited. This will be a defend against any position. Even under the gun, the thing is, it's a bit annoying that we have this cold caller, but on the other hand, he is probably a weaker player. I mean, not exactly our suit. Now I will just check fold to any sort of bet here. This is probably a recreational player. I'm happy to tag him as that. I mean, here, this is a pretty big bet on a monotone board. So definitely, as I said, it's just a check fold for me. But yeah, on a monotone board, you should look to always c-bet small. And by that, I don't mean that you should look to always c-bet, but if you c-bet, always small, and actually you c-bet most of the time not with a high frequency. Okay, pocket aces is a pretty good hand. Right, so he makes it fairly small with the raise here, although, well, look at him, he is actually very short, which is why I will only go to 6 big blinds. I was gonna go 7 or even slightly bigger, but because he's such a short stack, I'm happy with that. Here we have a cold caller. Okay, well, now here, when he shoves, I think we're just calling. Trying to keep the guy in if he has pocket tens, for example. And now I think I'm just gonna shove. He might well have pocket jacks, but at this point, I'm just happy to get the money in. And yeah, that's he's actually got a lot of equity, but cold calling a 3-bet with 5-4, 5-4 suited, and we win this one. I mean, these guys pretty hopeless here. Here we can raise, so I'm gonna tag him as being super recreational and him as well. So it's great to play against these sort of players. Here, ace queen, definitely we could play big bet, but I opt to check here because I'm not too proud of my kicker. Could bet now, but again, I will just check, let him keep his big wide range now that he hasn't done anything. I have to go for value with my ace on the river, but not happening. Yeah, the pool seems quite soft this morning, which I'm surprised about. But yeah, I mean, the hand with the ace is getting it in against ace-6 offsuit, and the other guy cold calling a 3-bet with 5-4 suited is just not great of them, and the better for me. A6 offsuit, definitely gonna raise in the small blind, would not have continued against a 3-bet. So I cut out a few hands that were not very interesting. Here we can definitely raise Jack 8 suited. King 9 suited. Against the later position open, I would have 3-bet, but cut off against low jack, decide to just fold. So a lot of players get caught up with these sort of hands. They might even cold call there because they think they're too good to be folded, but against an open, it's actually minus EV to continue with such a hand. Here, ace queen suited, we have a hijack raise. I think this is good enough to go for a 3-bet purely for value. I could have called here, but I think that is good. 6-4-4, this is a board that I play big bet or check. I'm gonna opt for a big bet. I can fold out a lot of hands that have equity against me, like Jack 10, King, Queen, something like that. Even though I am ahead, I'm happy to fold out that equity that they have. And if we get called by a hand like, say, pocket nines or something like that, we still have 2 overs and a backdoor flush draw. So that's the reason why I opted to go with a bet there rather than a check back. Here, I think King 7 would be just a pip below what I would like to open. King 8 I would have opened. King 7 I decided to just muck. Yeah, 10-5 off is obviously not a defend. Queen unsuited, we will open. 2.2 big blinds from the cutoff. And so if we get 3-bet basically by any position after opening Queen 9 suited, this will be a fold. Nine five suited. I mean, yeah, and definitely not defending against 3 big blind open by the button. Ace 5 offsuit, I would not have defended even against this raise, but definitely not against the 3-bet. King Jack off is an open in any position in 6 max. we're getting 3-bet by a player who's got quite a high VPIP. He's seems to be a bit of a fish, but yeah. Oh yeah, this is the guy that we played the 3-bet pot with, where he showed up with a6 offsuit, I think. But King Jack offsuit is not a hand I can continue against the 3-bet. So I had to fold it. Pocket fives, we will defend against the small raise, the min raise from the button. Okay, this board not great. He only goes one big blind. This is a tough one because he only made one big blind. I decide to call, but normally I should hit the mark. Here I am actually gonna go for a very thin value bet, very small one for quarter pot, because oh yeah, he has pocket nines. Well, yeah, but I was thinking that if he just had ace high there, or something like pocket deuces, pocket threes, I could get value from. Yeah, he showed up with pocket nines. I would not have expected him to see bet so small with pocket nines, but yeah, I guess there was a 10 on the board. Ace 2 suited, according to GTO, this is the only suited ace that you fold under the gun. But here I'm happy to open it against this pool. I mean, this guy is shaping up to be quite an aggressive player, but ace 2 suited is not exactly the type of hand I would like to 4-bet with. Ace 5 suited, I would have done it, and ace queen off, or even ace jack off, I could have gone for the 4-bet. Ace 8 offsuit. If we get the chance, which we do, we will open. Getting 3-bet, definitely a fold. King deuce would have been very marginal open. Jack 9 off is an open, although I'm not very proud of this hand. But we can open it. 7 high against an unknown player. Could go either way. But if we bet, we have to bet big. Yep, no, just getting him off whatever nonsense he had. Okay, ace 7 off. Will be a defend, although against this sort of a big bet, not great, but still just about a defend. Here we have second pair. He makes it the third pot. I have to call despite the monotony of the board. If he double barrels, I will be out. He does not. The jack pairs. I mean, should I go for thin value here? Could go, but I think I'll just check. And that was probably a good decision. Let's see what he had. He hit the 5. Well, I don't think he would have called a bet there. He was happy to take the showdown with his 5. But yeah, it was a good call after all on the flop. And pre-flop as well, we had the best hand. Ace 5 off in the big blind. This would only be a defend against the button or the small blind. Against the small blind, I might even 3-bet it. Here, yeah, as I said, it is a defend. We now have ace high, but if he bets small enough. I don't really have a lot going for me. I mean, it could go either way here. You could But I decide to fold here. There are plenty of opportunities to make money here. I don't have to take the tiny edges. Okay, we get a call from the small blind, most likely a recreational player. He leads out half pot here. I mean, I could raise him, but I think I'm just happy to call. Now he pots it, which is a bit scary, but still we have an overpair. And now that the flush comes in on the river and the board pairs, that is not great. What's happening here? He goes half pot. I mean, I just have to call him. I don't know. What do I beat? I beat a good 9. I beat pocket 10s, jacks, queens. So I just have to call here, even though I expect to lose. But I only have to be good 25% of the time. And I do think that I am. And look at this. He did have the 9 with the flush draw that missed, the backdoor flush draw. So yeah, definitely a good call there. And a good call down. Could definitely tag him as a recreational player. Queen Jack offsuit would have been a marginal open in the hijack, but I can't continue once low jack raises. Okay, 8-5 suited. He makes it even bigger than 3 big blinds, but we have to call this one, and it's a beautiful flop for us. He checked very quickly, makes me a bit suspicious. I decide to just play this one a bit more passively, although now that he checks twice, I can go for the big bet, and very good. We take it down. Ace-8 suited, definitely an open. And just get folds. King 5 off is not a hand I would raise in the small blind. Pocket 8s we can play. So pocket 6s is a definite open from the low jack. Everything, all the other pocket pairs below the 6s would be low frequency opens. Okay, A7 suited. I cannot continue. I don't want to 3-bet, and I definitely don't want to flat call. King 5 suited would be a low frequency open in the low jack. Okay, 8-7 suited. These suited connectors, people love them. I actually like them as well, but they tend to be hands that lose money. So, not too keen to open them from early position. Here, pocket 3s in the big blind against a big raise from under the gun. I would have called, but with the 3-bet here, I have to let them go. So Queen Jack offsuit, definitely an open in the small blind. We don't get any action, which is actually good. Ace 10 off is the lowest ace I open under the gun, and I get min clicked here by the button. Normally this would be a fold against a 3-bet, but for one big blind I have to call, and now annoyingly I also make top pair top kicker. Now I have 2 pair here, which is great. So if he has an ace, I could either play this with an overbet now or let him bet and then check raise. Oh, I mean, look at this. We've got an amazing board, but I don't know what he has that he just checks it down. So I have to go for the overbet here. I don't know what he 3-bet me with here, and then just checked it to the river and then folded. But yeah, I couldn't complain with that board. Okay, so this is pretty much it. I'm going to play one more orbit and then wrap it up. Jack 7 off is not a defend here. So we're going to sit out the next big blind. So 7-6 suited, this is what I was talking about. It's a hand that a lot of players would play. I mean, obviously, that now that someone had raised before me, it just hits the muck. But in the cutoff, you can open it. It's just a break-even hand, and maybe I would have opened it there because the button was super knit. But yeah, this will do for today. Very good session. Let's refresh this and see how we did today. Yeah, we won $45, 180 big blinds, but I mean, this is not what we deserved. This one here, the 70 big blinds in 180 hands that we played. I'm happy with the red line, 20 big blinds up, so that's good as long as it doesn't go sharp down. I'm happy with it, and it being positive in positive territory is very nice. So yep, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this and hope you learned it. If you want to see more of this, please let me know in the comments and subscribe to the channel, and see you next time. Bye.